Welcome to the Tribune Scouting Report. I'm Jennifer Fierro here at the Hibachi, or better known as the Faith Academy football field here on the campus of the Faith Academy Flames. Of course, the Flames got back to their winning ways, winning a big game against New Braunfels Christian during its homecoming matchup. Of course, that was huge for many reasons, which we're going to talk to head coach Russ Roberts about, and then we're also going to preview this week's big road game at Bryan Allen Academy. Then, for good measure, we're going to check in with our expert Mark Earwood and get his thoughts on the Flames as they are now starting to make their final preparations for district play. All that and more on the Tribune Scouting Report coming right up.
Caring for you like family is not just our motto, it is our commitment to our patients. At Texas Hills Urgent Care Centers, our highly trained nurses, physicians, and staff know that your health and your family's health are important. With weekend and evening hours, Texas Hills Urgent Care Centers is here for all your family's health care needs, including treatment for illnesses, injuries, school and travel vaccinations, as well as many other services. Located on Highway 71 in Bee Cave and on Highway 281 in Marble Falls, convenient and professional medical care is just around the corner.
Thanks for staying with us, and I do want to thank you for joining us wherever and however you're able to. With me now is the head coach of the Faith Academy Flames, Russ Roberts. And Coach, you have led the Flames back to winning ways, having a decisive big win over New Braunfels Christian during your homecoming game. Give me some thoughts about that contest.
Well, the best thing about homecoming is it's over and we won. Our job was to win the homecoming game. All our other committees and groups made a fantastic week of it for our homecoming festivities, and it was great, and we were glad we were able to win it. Didn't win it the way we wanted to. Played a really sloppy first half, and a little bit concerned at halftime, but we came back in the second half and established our dominance, and I thought we played extremely well in the second half.
Now, of course, the guys were coming off that loss to Fredericksburg Heritage. Then you turn around and get a big win this week. How do you think that's going to help you now that you prepare for yet another long road trip going over to Bryan Allen Academy?
Well, what it should do is give you a little momentum that we can hopefully add to this week in Bryan and then take it into district the following week. But coaching high school boys doesn't always work the way it's supposed to. But we've had a good workout so far, and we feel pretty good about it. We're actually an underdog. According to sixmanfootball.com, the Bryan Allen is a 4-point favorite, and that's kind of unique because even against Fredericksburg, we were the favorite. It was almost even, but we were slight favorite. So we're down by 4, so we've got something to prove this week, and that'll be fun.
Now you're playing a Bryan Allen team. Sounds like you know a lot about. What do they like to do offensively?
Well, they started out the season as a tight team, running tight formations. And they really didn't serve them very well. They lost pretty miserably in the first game of the season against Waco Live Oak. Before the second ball game, they made the switch to a spread team, and it has benefited them greatly. They were much more effective, and they beat San Marcos Home School. And then last week, they had pretty much of a laugher against another Bryan school. So they've only played 3 games. They're 2-1, but they're a good unit. I feel like we match up pretty well physically. And I think we've got a chance to get a win here, despite the fact we're an underdog.
Now, you haven't played this team yet, correct?
Never played them. Bryan Allen Academy is an old school. They were 11-man football when I was in high school. They used to play against Harlandale when I was a kid, and I remember them from that. But the enrollment is obviously considerably smaller now, and they've dropped down to 6-man. It's an exciting place. They've got a lot going on. They've got all turf field turf, just like Marble Falls High School, and we're excited about playing on that. I understand they've got some unbelievable building projects going on there on campus, and it's an up-and-coming place, and I think a chance to play an up-and-coming program.
Now, y'all have been able to establish what seems to be a pretty devastating running attack. You tell me how you think that's going to go against this Bryan Allen defense this week.
Well, necessity is the mother of invention, and we've not been throwing the ball as well as we would like. When we threw the ball well, we didn't catch it. When we seemed like we were ready to catch it, we didn't throw very well. So I'm a little suspect of our passing game right now. That's something we've got to correct and we've got to change because we need to be much more balanced. But in lieu of that, I'm not going to sit around and lose ball games while we wait for the passing game to establish itself. So we've done some things. We've actually added some audibles in there where our quarterbacks can switch to a better play. We're looking at trying to go not so much outside, which is what we've become famous for the last 2 years, but go outside and inside, and play a better, more balanced brand of ball.
You know, I'm going to have to ask you about the kicking game simply because the point spread between the two teams is such a small margin. I almost feel like the kicking game may have an impact. What do you think?
Well, yes, if you're talking about a tight ball game, the difference in getting a conversion and not getting a conversion is very obvious to anybody who watches ball game. Now in six-man football, because so many of us go for two with the kick, which is opposite of the 11, that introduces another challenge. Do you want to go for two or do you want to go for one? And then the question has to be asked then, would we do better by getting one every time and not going for two and missing every other one? And that's a question that's hard to answer. You've got to feel better about, you got to feel pretty good about your kicking game. I thought Bryan kicked the ball much better last week. I have a lot more confidence in him, and I feel like that we'll be up to the challenge.
Okay. Coach, look forward to catching up with you next week and getting all the details about this week's game. And then, of course, we're going to get all squared away for the district opener. And we'll be right back with Mark Earwood. We're back. Thanks for staying with us. Joining me now is Mark Earwood, the administrator here at Faith Academy. And Coach, you were able to see your Flames get a big win after losing the week before to Fredericksburg Heritage. This one over New Braunfels Christian. What were some of the thoughts or highlights that you saw Friday night?
Well, I was glad to see the boys bounce back. Obviously, after the heartbreaking loss to Fredericksburg, I was a little concerned because the first quarter started off very slow. In fact, it was about 5 or 6 minutes before halftime before the first points were scored. And I was sitting there, I was already planning on saying at halftime, if it had remained scoreless, that this was the first time in 13 years of six-man football I'd seen a scoreless tie at halftime. I've never seen that before. But just like six-man, you know, in those last 6 minutes, you know, both teams scored, I think we scored twice and they scored once. And that was sort of what opened the floodgates from there. But I think the boys had a little bit of remnants of that Fredericksburg game that held over into the first quarter. But then once it started clicking, it was good to see them back.
That's such a great thing, especially now they're going to be taking a very long road trip here on Friday night. And this is not an overnighter. They're expected back.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So tell me about Bryan Allen. Have we ever played them before?
No, we haven't. Bryan Allen was in our district many, many years ago, but did not have football. Then they took up football and went 11-man, and they were 11-man for many years. And now they've come back to 6-man a couple of years ago. They've got a beautiful facility. They've got a lot of amenities for putting together a good football team. They've got a good weight program, those kinds of things. So they're going to have some very solid, very good athletes out on the field, and it's going to be a real challenge. It'll be a tough game. One
thing I forgot to ask Coach Roberts, and I may be putting you on the spot, I apologize in advance. You know, we're taking one of the larger teams in numbers. And I think we have about 20 players that will suit up for Friday night's contest. Does Bryan have more numbers or more players on their roster than Faith?
I don't know the answer to that. What I've heard is that they're probably in that 16 to 17 player margin. But I think that they have experienced players coming back. They were a playoff team last year, and they have quite a few starters coming back from that team. So that's what I mean about them being a well-prepared and a well-put-together team. I think they're going to have some experience going for them. And, you know, experience is such a key factor in six-man football. It's a big, big advantage that they would have.
What are you looking for from the Flames?
I want to see them progress in what they're doing. I think they're getting more and more comfortable with Coach Graham's defense, and saw some good things coming from them defensively last week, some of the adjustments that they made. Offensively, I know Coach is looking for more consistency. I know that the quarterback shuffle continues because there's things that each one of those boys do well, and he continues to use that. But I think he's just looking for more consistency in their reads, more consistency from the receivers and finding soft spots in the zone. And, of course, you know, continuing to play on through the whistle are the things that I know he's looking for.
Now, this is the last game before the start of district play next week. Do you think it'd be huge or a big momentum booster to go in and get a win before you start district? How would you characterize that?
Yeah, I think it's important to hit district with a little bit of momentum, especially with these young guys. It's a confidence thing. So a win over a Bryan Allen that's a playoff caliber team, I think would be a big boost going into district. The boys will you know, like I said, it would be a very big confidence boost for them going into district play.
Okay, Coach, we certainly appreciate it. All the best in your travels with you and the boys. Hope to see you guys next week. Get there and come back safely.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Look forward to seeing you then. Okay, and we'll be back with some final thoughts.
We are established. We are qualified. We are certified. We are knowledgeable. We are dependable. We are Ken's Heating and Air. Our people make the difference.
Ironically, head coach Russ Roberts asked the Flames to come in at 6:30 on Tuesday morning for an early practice, a very early practice. Why is that ironic? Well, simply because the Flames have to travel so far to play this week's game at Bryan. Therefore, look for the Flames to continue to do the things that have led to their success. They're going to run the ball. They're going to pound the ball. They're going to see if they can knock Bryan off of their heels en route to getting the win. And then don't be surprised if Russ Roberts asks his team to invoke the 45-point mercy rule in order to get back to Marble Falls and enjoy the rest of their weekend. But no matter what happens at Bryan, make sure to tune in next week when we talk to the Flames about this game and then get you all squared away for what's laying ahead. Until then, I'm Jennifer Fierro. We'll catch you next week.